Gas shortages, school closures, confidential police files exposed. Cyber attacks have led to those problems and more around the country and right here in Massachusetts in just the last few weeks.
25 Investigates has been looking into who's behind these attacks and what's being done about it. Investigative reporter Ted Daniel joins us live once again. And Ted, this afternoon you learned of a new attack.
As we were putting the final touches on this story, Vanessa and Mark, Rockland Public Schools got hit. Nobody will reveal what the ransom demand is. I'm told administrators there are working with Homeland Security. Nothing is off limits for these cyber criminals. Billions of private records are being accessed in the attacks, including files that could have your name attached.
Fast cars, exotic pets. Business is good for 33-year-old Maskim Yukevitz and his Russian hacking network EvilCore. Yes, that's the name they go by. According to the Justice Department, EvilCore is responsible for ransomware attacks in 11 U.S. states, including Massachusetts. The FBI says a different group of Russian hackers is behind the recent cyber attack that shut down the Colonial Gas Pipeline. The pipeline moves nearly half of the fuel used on the eastern seaboard. You've been paying more at the pump because of it.
So the nature of these attacks does seem to be changing.
Professor Jane Fountain from the College of Information and Computer Sciences at UMass Amherst specializes in cybersecurity. She says hackers are demanding higher ransoms and stealing data even when the ransom is paid. You know the drill. That data can include credit card numbers, medical records, social security numbers.
Many criminals realize that they can try selling that data on the black market all over the world. So they can attack operations as well as encrypting data.
25 Investigates was the first to tell you that hackers took down the computer network at Lawrence City Hall. At the same time, Haverhill Public Schools was dealing with a ransomware attack of its own. Ransoms have also been demanded from or paid by the vendor that hosts the RMV's vehicle inspection network. The failure cost repair shops thousands and temporarily allowed potentially unsafe cars on the road. The City of New Bedford, Tewksbury Police, the Town of Rockport, Melrose Police, Reading Municipal Light Department, Leominster Public Schools, Chicopee Public Schools, Nuance Communications in Burlington, Residex Software in Boston, and UMass Memorial in Worcester.
So you have about a dozen people who just work security?
I do.
Bruce Foreman is the Chief Information Security Officer at UMass Memorial Healthcare. He says he had to fight a ransomware attack many years ago. It started when an employee accidentally opened a phishing email. That's it. One wrong click or keystroke can cripple every computer on a network.
We were able to recover most of our systems from our backup copies of our data.
Does this keep you up at night?
Sometimes it does, yeah. You're trying to teach people not to click on these phishing emails, to recognize them, and when they do, when they provide the information, you're trying to identify, detect that as quickly as possible and turn it off.
UMass Memorial takes its network security seriously. Former hacker Adriel Desautel says that's not always the case. He's Chief Technology Officer at the computer security firm NetraGuard. Companies hire him to find vulnerabilities or holes in their networks. With so many people working from home, he says those have dramatically increased.
As businesses become more and more virtual, especially with the pandemic, there's more and more opportunity. So I think that the attacks are on the rise just because of an increase in opportunity.
Desautel says a false sense of security permeates the industry. And just like with the Colonial Pipeline attack, the threat isn't often realized until it's too late.
Where these businesses are advertising, they're saying, we stop breaches, and then they're breached or their customers are breached.
Do most people have any idea how bad this is?
No. Most people are under the assumption that the security technologies that they're buying are literal solutions. And most people also think, well, they will protect my data. I'm not sure who they is, but they will protect my data. There's no such thing. People don't know.
Just about anything with an internet connection is vulnerable to ransomware. That includes your home computer. Of course, be careful what you click. Avoid files and attachments unless they're from a sender you trust, and stay away from dodgy websites. The FBI discourages paying ransom, but Vanessa and Mark, government and private industry often do pay, hoping the problem will just go away.
Ted, it is so scary how one wrong click can cause so many problems.
And the ransomware demands are going up. One report said the average payout now is somewhere around $300,000. And in the case of the pipeline, they reportedly paid $5 million to get that system back up and running again.
Amazing, big money. And as you said, they sometimes get through and then they keep the money as well. So hit you doubly hard there. Ted Daniel, great work. Great reporting as always. Appreciate it.